Have you ever pulled into a campground and it smells like a family of skunks is camping next door? Maybe you finally realize the only thing higher than your neighbors is the mountains in the background. Well, stay tuned. Today we're talking about a bit of a controversial subject, smoking the wacky tobacco at the campground. Welcome back to the Camping Loop. Now, before we get into this video, let's remember to try to keep it a little family friendly. There's certain words or phrases or terms that YouTube doesn't like, and they're definitely not made for your kids' ears, so we're going to try to speak in code a bit. And let me just say quickly, we don't advocate one way or another how you choose to live your life. We're just presenting facts. Take what you like and leave the rest. With 38 states jumping on board and somehow consuming the greenery, either recreational or medicinal, it's almost harder to find a state that it's illegal than legal. At this point, the only places you can't light up are like Idaho and the DMV. Seriously, the only thing you see more common than a dispensary here in New York is the old RVs parked at the Walmart. We went from, don't let your grandma catch you with that, to, hey grandma, want to hit this? But what about at a campground? What are the rules? Is it legal? Does it make it right? There's kids running around. Now listen, I'm no lawyer, no Johnny Law, but I can tell you this much. Just because it's legal in your state doesn't necessarily make it that way in your campground. I know here in New York, it's illegal to smoke in any state park, beaches, marinas, playgrounds, recreation centers, and private campgrounds might have their own set of rules. Some of them out there even cater to this sort of thing. Here's one here called Camp Laughinggrass. 17-acre property, got all sorts of glamping tents, camping sites, or cabins for rent. They offer different sample packages. Some of them have t-shirts or smoking apparatuses or even samples. They built an entire business off of this. Years ago, when this first became legalized in New York, Wendy and I were still at a seasonal campground. And, obviously seasonal, private property. And that guy's rule was, as long as nobody complains, you're good to go. So definitely a gray area there. And just because it's illegal to smoke at certain places, what about the other 610 ways you can consume it? Butter, brownies, truffles, oils, suckers, candies, ropes, pens. Literally, the list goes on and on. Pretty soon, I'd expect to see a section dedicated to this next to the cereal aisle at the grocery store. Best advice I could give on the legality of it all: know the rules. Check the laws in the state you're in, check the laws in the state that you're going to, and check ahead at the rules your campground you're staying at. They're all different. And be careful out there if you're crossing state lines. Not recommended. New York to Pennsylvania, for example, you could have a whole world of trouble on your hands. It's called trafficking and could result in a felony depending on the amount. Could land you 5 years in the slammer and a fine of 250 G's. My understanding of carrying plants across the state line, penalties are even worse. You see, federal law still says it's an illegal substance, no matter what your state says. So transporting it across state lines, whether it's a state that's legal to legal, still makes it a federal crime. Now, we also got to consider camping etiquette here. Just because you might be at a park that allows it, does that make it okay to rip a binger right across the street from a bunch of kids playing hopscotch? Your neighbors might give you some dirty looks if you're over there puffing away like a public service announcement, and they might not have signed up for Bob Marley and giggling all weekend. And then there's the smell. There's no mistaking the smell. Some people are out there wearing it around like it's cologne, just spraying it everywhere. Stuff travels farther than your teens' excuses for not getting a job. Now, there's going to be people out there arguing, what about cigarette smoke or cigar smoke? That smells horrible too. And they got a point. And on the flip side, I've heard of people that say they actually like the smell or they don't mind it at all. Let me know what you guys think. Whether you're anti-devil lettuce or pro-let's go burn one, the times are certainly changing. Wasn't long ago that people were hiding behind trees just to hide from the park rangers, and now they're lighting up everywhere all willy-nilly. And if you partake, keep in mind it's still a big no-no at any national park or federal land, so don't let that get you into trouble. And be considerate of the neighbors in the campground that probably don't like it. Take a look at your surroundings. Maybe figure out what the rules are before you go lighting up. And keep in mind, if you're somebody who used to partake in this 15, 20, 25 years ago, you gave it up, and you're maybe thinking about starting again, buckle your seatbelt. It's not the same. First of all, when I was a kid, I remember if you wanted to find a bag, you had to go on a scavenger hunt. You had to know the right people, you had to know the right code, you had to have the right number. Now you just walk into a store. It's like a fancy wine tasting with so many names that'll never make sense to you. It's unbelievable. And it's potent. Now you got to strategize almost. Like, if I light this up at 7 o'clock, am I going to be able to function at 8:30 to order a pizza? Just start low and slow and try not to lose your marbles. You'll be okay. And again, we don't advocate one way or another what you guys choose to do. It's your life. You do you. We are, however, curious on your thoughts on the subject, so leave me a comment down below. And of course, while you're down there, go ahead and hit the button for me. It's free, and you're going to get to see more content like the stuff you saw today. And it is unbelievably helpful to a small channel like ours. As always, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you in the next one.